Sports on Tap Detroit, brought to you by the Realtors of the Joe Wright Group, Jason Stiltner of Flagstar Bank, Time Out with Steven Scott, presented by Baldman Entertainment.
Buckle the fuck up.
It's time to play the game.
They are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Time to play the game.
You can't let that shit happen.
You play to win the game.
If we take a fucking tight end, I quit!
Cannot win with him. Can't do it.
Time to play the game.
Good morning and welcome to Sports on Tap. This is the Game Day Show. I am Frank. This is Joe. Joe, how we doing today?
I'm good, man.
All right.
I'm good. We've got a jam-packed show to get to with all these games. There are some buys, but one of the teams that was on last week's bye is now back, and that is the Lions.
Indeed.
And they've got a game scheduled today in Dallas against the Dallas Cowboys, and we've got a little bit of a treat for people who are going to be watching a little bit later on. We have some guys from a podcast called Straight No Chaser. They do the podcast in Dallas, and they're going to be giving us a call at about 11:30-ish our time, 10:30 their time to talk about the game and to shoot the shit a little bit about these two teams playing in today's game. So
I'm excited for this.
well,
It
should be good.
It's a first time, so we're going to see how it goes. But it sounds like a good opportunity.
we've been using our phone line here live on the air for some other things, and it's been working out pretty well. So hopefully this follows suit.
Yeah,
It should be fun.
I'm looking forward to it. You want to hop in, or you got anything for today?
No, I think we'll just hop in. We'll just get right to the games. Start working our way through all the bullshit that is the NFL these days.
Oh, geez. All right. We are going to start off with Cleveland and Baltimore. What I am seeing right now, I can't bring up the matchup, but I am seeing Cleveland getting 5 points. The money that I am seeing is lying just slightly over half on the Ravens. And the over-under is set at 46, and the over is pretty heavy on my screen.
Okay, so looking at what I'm looking at here, I've actually got Cleveland at plus 6.5. It's a little odd. That's at FanDuel, it looks like.
Okay.
And the bet percentages have Cleveland the underdog there at taking the 6.5. So Baltimore is about 62% with the bet percentage. Looks like the under. The money line is 63%. So pretty much same amount betting across the board on Baltimore, either giving up the points or straight. And the over under is 50-50 when you look at it. Now, money percentage, again, a little different when you look at it. 73% is on Baltimore giving up the 6.5, which to me that's a smart bet. And then it's 54% money line, so it goes down a little bit with money line, but again, that's money chasing money,
right, at
plus 245. And then 73% of the money is on the over at over 46, and that is at negative 109. It looks like negative 109, negative 110, as opposed to minus 104, 105. So that is the favorite, is the over in this game.
So you're feeling Baltimore on this one?
So I'm going to look at our value index here, which has been a little up and down since we started using it, but more up than down. Last week was not a good week for it. The first 2 weeks we used it, it was pretty damn good. But I can tell you this one has Cleveland. You take the points with Cleveland. The value index has the combo score for Baltimore at 22.6. And the combo score for Cleveland at 20.9, which means they're going to be within 3 points in this game based on the projections and based on the simulations. So it's telling us to take Cleveland with the 6.5 points.
Okay. It's interesting because with the eye test, I would definitely say Baltimore with the points.
And so would I, and which is I even learned some things looking at this value index tool, because I just said a minute ago, for me,
Right.
it would have been Baltimore minus the 6.5.
Okay.
But this has me rethinking that. So take it for what you will. This is a little bit better than my gut feelings. This tool has been pretty good since we've been using it. So it hits at about a 55% rate, 55 to 60% rate. So I mean, if you play all the single games, you're gonna come out a winner.
Okay.
So.
And that's why they're the experts, and I'm not sitting here as a millionaire.
Same.
If I knew this shit, then I would be a millionaire and I would be doing their job. All right.
Same.
What are you seeing on the fantasy side of things with this?
So this game right here, I actually really like. Obviously Lamar Jackson in this one. So the Cleveland's defense has been a fucking sieve. They're not good, and Woods needs to be fired. Let's just throw that one out there as a Cleveland fan. Fucking that guy needs to be dumped in the street. But yeah, so Lamar Jackson's a great play in this one. Obviously, you're playing him. He's a good DFS play as well. If I'm looking at the Cleveland side of the ball, really the only guy I can trust on the Cleveland side of the ball in this game is Nick Chubb, and even that's a tough ask. But you're playing him, right? He's your guy. You're playing him. He's gonna get the volume. He's just not gonna get the carries when the game is on the line because Stefanski's a fucking moron. So he's gonna put the ball back in Brisket's hands, and Brisket's gonna throw up a fucking interception or two, and they're gonna lose the game.
And I know we're a couple weeks early on this, but just because I'm questioning this, what are you thinking? We're a couple weeks out from Deshaun.
Yeah, so he's due back week 13, right? So I
Yeah.
mean, we're
About
we're about
5 weeks
halfway
there.
there. We're about halfway
6
there,
weeks
and
there.
yeah. So at this point in time, as a player, they need him. I mean, I don't know what he's going to be. He's had almost
Hasn't
2
taken
years
a
off of
snap in
football.
2 years.
Yeah. So, but as a football player, with his athletic ability, they need him. They need him badly, especially if they're going to be putting the ball in the quarterback's hands and taking it out of their best player's hands, which is Nick Chubb,
Right.
and that running game. If they were doing that with Deshaun, I wouldn't question as much, but they're doing it with Brisket. And, I mean, everybody loves Brisket, but not in this situation.
Yeah, you don't want Brisket as your quarterback.
Yeah. So, on the other side of the ball here, it's going to be that backfield is a little bit murky as far as Baltimore goes. So you got Justice Hill who comes back. You got Kenyon Drake, who looked pretty good in filling in for J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins has been put out on IR. He is going to be out 4 to 6 weeks with another knee arthroscopic surgery, I guess.
Okay.
And then you got Gus Edwards coming back. And Gus Edwards has done nothing but average over 5 yards a carry since he's come into the league. He's just never been the main guy. And so that backfield's pretty murky. I'm looking forward to seeing how it's going to play out for them. I don't necessarily see Justice Hill being a main guy for sure. He's more of a change of pace guy. Kenyon Drake has proven that he can't prove it. I mean, he's proven to not be the guy in a lot of scenarios.
Just to go with Chris's analogy, he's the non-injured version of Sammy Watkins. 1-2 big games, and that's about it.
Yep, that is correct, and that's what he does. And so, I think Gus Edwards, while Dobbins is out, if he's healthy enough, will take over the main the Lions portion of the carries there.
Okay.
But we're yet to see how it's going to work out because they just brought Edwards off of the PUP list. So
Okay. Any other thoughts, opinions on this one?
not a fucking thing other than that.
I sense a little frustration in your voice.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always frustration in the voice of a Browns fan. I think you can relate.
Try being a Lions, Jags, and Raiders fan.
Yeah, it doesn't go very well.
All right, we're going to be moving on. We are going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I almost called them the Florida Panthers. Carolina Panthers. Sorry, I was watching hockey last night.
Florida Panthers.
I got my mind on the ice. We're looking at Tampa Bay laying 13 points, over under set at 39. I am seeing money extremely heavy going on Tampa Bay side of things.
Yeah, so looking at the bet percentages, it's 71% on Tampa minus the 13.5 and 94% on money line Tampa. That's the bet percentages. When you switch over to the money line, it's pretty damn close as far as that goes. So the money's 76% on minus the 13.5 and 76% on the money line. The biggest thing is the money mainly is on the under in this game.
I see a lot of
90%
that.
of the money is on the under, and 63% of the bet is on the under. So a lot of money on the under in this game. If we're looking at the value index tool, which is our tool we've been using for the last few weeks, I believe this is the fourth week we're using it. This tells you to take Carolina. What this told us to take Carolina at getting the 11 points. So if you're getting 13.5,
Okay.
it's even better now. So this says Carolina is going to lose by let's see, 7 points.
Okay.
So it says they're going to lose by a touchdown. So you're still ahead in points if you take them getting the 13.5.
My question with this one is, does Brady use this game to get right?
I mean, it's set up for him.
Right.
It's definitely set up for him.
And if he uses it as a game to get right and figures out how to get his season on track, 13 points ain't going to be enough. But
I
again,
personally have seen
that's eye test.
right, and that's for me. I haven't seen enough out of Tampa this year to really tell me
Right.
I should be comfortable giving up 2 touchdowns.
Right. And that's why I'm saying if he uses it at
right.
that's the only possibility that I see them covering this 13 points.
Right, and listen, it's possible. I mean, Carolina's not a good team. They don't do much well.
They don't have a coach.
on any side of the ball. They've traded away 2 players recently. They traded away Robbie Anderson, and they traded away CMC. So CMC went to San Francisco, and Robbie Anderson went to
AZ.
Arizona. Yeah, that's right. He played on Thursday.
Oh, did he?
I mean, he was technically wearing a uniform. He ran a couple of routes.
He seemed a lot less angry though.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of humbles you when your team basically tells you get the fuck out. We don't want you anymore because you're a piece of shit.
And then you go to a team that has basically no healthy wide receivers, and they still don't use you. Well,
Yeah.
with the exception of Nuke coming back.
Yeah, Hopkins came back and caught and got all the targets basically. But looking back at this game here, I think this is definitely set up for a Tampa Bay game. If we're looking at fantasy, Fournette's he's been a high value touch machine. I mean, he's RB6 on the season, I believe, in fantasy. He's 6th in opportunity share, 3rd in weighted opportunity average, 21.1 touches, 95.9 total yards a game. I think he's a damn good play today. I think if this is not used for Brady to get right, they're going to rely on Fournette and possibly even Rachaad White, and they're going to run the ball down their throats.
Just hammer them with it.
Yeah. So I've got Tom Brady. Let's see, where do I have him on my rankings this week? I've got him ranked 7th, I believe.
Okay.
Right ahead of Tua and Derek Carr. So listen, you have worse plays this week than him. He definitely could, on your note, could use this as a get right game. Looking at Fournette, I've got him rated as my 6th best running back on the week, just above Jonathan Taylor and right under Alvin Kamara. If you're looking at, and that's non-PPR. If we're looking at PPR, I've got him rated right about the same area, but guys like Eckler and Taylor jump up on the chart a little bit above him.
Are you even bothering to touch this outside of Fournette for fantasy?
Yeah, so I mean, listen, you're playing Tom Brady. It's a game that if you got him on your team, he's your starter. You're going to play him. And Mike Evans is a must play in my opinion, and I believe Godwin has become that again. As long as he stays healthy, as long as he's healthy and on the field, he's a must play. In a game like this, I worry about how much they're going to be throwing the ball.
Okay.
Because if they have control of it, they might just resort to the run game, unless they're trying to get Tom Brady right. So, but you're still going to play him. You still play him, and fingers crossed, hope for the best, right? I mean, you're playing guys like Mike Evans. You're playing Chris Godwin. I don't see anybody else outside of that there. And on Carolina's side of the ball, I'm not playing anybody.
I was going to say, I know you picked up Foreman this morning. I grabbed Chuba last night again.
So I picked up Foreman, and I actually dropped him this morning because I picked up.
Oh, you dropped him this morning.
I picked up a guy, and we'll talk about him later in one of these other games. But yeah, I picked up a different guy this morning. I used my 5th waiver ad for the week to pick him up, and I actually had to drop Gus Edwards because I had him on my IR, and when I picked him up, he was on IR. Well, he's not anymore this morning, and I looked at it, and I was like, oh, well, I can't have an illegal lineup.
Yep.
So I dropped him, I dropped Foreman, and I picked up a different guy with some breaking news this morning, which we'll get to.
Okay.
But yeah, on the Carolina side of the ball, I'm not touching anybody. I'm not going with anybody on the side of the ball. P.J. Walker's the starting quarterback. DJ Moore, I got to see more from him. He might be being held back by the offense, or he just might have lost a step. I don't know, man. I mean, his talent level is high, but he's not producing, so you can't play him.
They went and got Baker and Sam Darnold.
Well, neither one of them are healthy right now. I mean, and let's face it,
still going with PJ
right.
Walker.
Well, neither one of those guys are healthy. They can't play right now.
No, I know.
So, like, you got PJ Walker. I personally believe that once both those guys are healthy, I think they're going to go back to Sam Darnold. And
with the way Baker played, I would think so.
He didn't produce, and Sam Darnold last year shit the bed too. But I mean, if you got a guy that's not producing, you got a guy come back off an injury that for the first 4 games last year Darnold produced, but he had a healthy CMC.
Right.
What's he going to do without CMC at all? So we'll see on that, but I believe they're going to go to Darnold once he's healthy.
I would expect the same. Any other thoughts, opinions on that one?
No.
All righty. We are moving on to the Falcons-Bengals. I got Cincinnati laying 6.5 on my screen. We have the over-under set at 47.5. And money line-wise, it is heavy on my screen for Cincinnati. What are the pros saying, though?
Yeah, so right here we've got, on my screen, the bet percentage is pretty even when it comes to the spread. And then 64% on the money line for Cincinnati. 66% of the bet percentage is on the under 47.5. When you click over to the money line, or the money is strong money line Atlanta. Strong money line Atlanta. 95% of the money is on Atlanta money line. And then points-wise, it's 53% on Cincinnati minus the 6.5. But that money line, 95%, tells me that there's a lot of big money that thinks Atlanta's going to stick in this game and possibly have a chance to win it. 93% of the money is on the over 47.5. We look at the value index tool, and it tells us why all that money is on Atlanta money line. All the projections have Atlanta winning this game basically 21-20, 22-21. So getting that 6.5 points, they might win anyway. So you might not need those 6.5 points. That tells me exactly why there's so much money put on Atlanta money line.
Atlanta is one of those teams this year that I really feel like is benefiting from the fact that everybody is on a very level playing field.
Yep.
Like, there's very few teams that are far and beyond anybody else in here. And as far as Atlanta goes, like, there's no reasonable explanation why they're a 3-3 team. They should be essentially tanking, trying to find themselves a quarterback. But yeah, that's a team that surprised me this year.
Yeah, and Marcus Mariota's been playing pretty well. I mean, he's getting the job done when he needs to. They just beat San Francisco last week. He's doing a good job. He's not great. but he's getting the job done. He's looking better than what people might have thought he was. Part of that is his rushing. He's able to run the ball, and he's athletic, and he can scramble once nothing's there. I don't mind that play from him this week. So if I'm looking at my quarterback rankings, I've got Mariota right around the area of Goff, Trevor Lawrence, even Matt Ryan this week against a Tennessee defense that's beatable. So he's right in that area. If you have him as a second quarterback, you can play him. If you had some injuries and you got fucked at quarterback or you waited too long and he's one of your guys, he's worth a shot this week. And when you're looking at the other side of the ball, quarterback-wise, I've got Burrow rated as my 5th best quarterback on the week. He had a breakout game last week in New Orleans with Jamar Chase. Those two broke out, just like I said they would, going back to the Superdome. I literally said it on the air last week, and it came to fruition. I mean, Jamar Chase had his best game of the season. Burrow had his best game of the season. Hopefully they keep that going against a very beatable Atlanta defense this week, looking at fantasy-wise. If you're looking at running backs, Mixon's the guy to play in this matchup. I don't like anybody on the Atlanta side of the ball as far as running backs go. I mean, if you're starting Tyler Algier or Caleb Huntley or somebody like that, you're grasping at straws. Your season might be over. Yeah, and maybe you could hope for a big game from one of them. Maybe one of them can get a touchdown. Maybe both. I don't know. But
That's about where I'm at right now with the fantasy season. I've been juggling at any given point like 4 or 5 injuries. Like it.
I've got a team like that in one of my leagues. It's one of the leagues I've been in for a long, long time. It's Dan's league actually.
Okay.
And every time I turn around, I have another injury.
Yep.
I get one guy healthy, 2 other guys fall out. I'm like, man, I can't fucking win. This week I got a couple guys out. I got a couple guys on bye. I'm fielding a mash unit out there against the team I'm playing, and I basically have chalked it up to a loss because I don't see how my team's gonna win.
Yeah, I got no shot this week. I feel you on that one.
I'm starting Latavius Murray as a flex in that league, which tells you how many injuries I have.
I'm literally starting Chuba. I'm starting a number 2 running back. Yeah.
That's rough.
That's how bad things have gotten for my team.
That's rough.
I had to drop Matson on a bye week just to get something to put in there.
Yeah.
And I was fine up until the point Swift got axed last night.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a little while. We'll save that game for when the guys from Dallas call.
Yeah.
Then if you're looking at wide receivers, I don't really like this matchup on the Atlanta side of the ball. I mean, Mariota's going to get some points, right? So, not a lot, not all of it's going to come from the pass. Like I said, he's very athletic. He can run the ball. He gets rushing yards, gets rushing touchdowns. I think he could have a decent game. I don't necessarily like anybody that he's going to throw the ball to, though, like to stand out. Drake London is a guy where if you have him as a wide receiver 3, not bad. He's within my top 25. You could do worse than that as a wide receiver 3 or a flex. And then if you're looking at the tight end position, Kyle Pitts hasn't done fuck all year. He caught a touchdown pass last week, 3 catches, 19 yards, and a touchdown. Mm-hmm. And that touchdown saved the day for anybody who started him again. But, man, if you're stuck starting Kyle Pitts, which I am in a couple leagues, because when you drafted Kyle Pitts, you didn't draft a backup.
Right.
Same as when you draft Kelsey. You don't draft a backup. You don't need a backup tight end if you got those guys. Well, what the fuck did we know? Because you need a backup tight end if you have Kyle Pitts. And most of us who drafted Kyle Pitts didn't draft a backup because that's just not what you do.
As much as I like Pitts, and I do think he does have a very bright future still.
He does.
Right now, it's not worth it.
It's not there.
Like, that offense is so bad in reality that you could double cover your tight end with 2 corners and still not risk giving up that many yards.
Right.
Like,
yeah, I mean it's and they're not throwing the ball a ton.
They're not.
So there's not he's got a 21% target share, but they're not throwing it enough. And he's not getting the down the field routes. He's not getting the open down the field routes like you saw in preseason, like you saw last year. He's got an 82% route run rate, which is it's great. It's just not there for him this year right now. And on the other side of the ball, at tight end, you got Hayden Hurst. Hurst, he finds himself in the top 12 in tight ends this season. He's at 12. This is a game where you could use him, and you could possibly get starting tight end points out of Hayden Hurst this week. I'm playing him in DFS as a buy low, hope for a touchdown, 4 catches, 40 yards and a touchdown. I'll take it.
Okay.
And then the wide receivers on the other side, obviously Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. He gutted through an injury last week. Didn't play the week before. Was a late. Well, actually, he wasn't even a scratch. He went out there for was he out there for 10 plays and then sat.
Pretty much.
But last week, even gutting through an injury, he had a 27% target share, 27.9% air yard share, 88.4% route run rate. Higgins is 14th in PFF receiving grade. You're putting him out there. He's gotten through an injury. I know that, but I think you got to play him. And Tyler Boyd's a wide receiver 4. I mean, if you got some buys, maybe you're playing him as a wide receiver 3, flexy. But I think the other two guys are the way you want it. Flexy. So, yeah.
All right. Anything else on that game?
Nope. Good to go, bro.
All righty. We are going to skip the Lions game, which is next on my screen. So we are going to go to Giants-Jags, the game that interests me the most this year. If you listened on Tuesday, this was my lock of the week.
Lock of the week. And I realized after that show that Chris brought up us doing locks of the week, and you're the only one that did a lock of the week.
Yep. As I was just like, okay, if we're going to do it, I'll throw it out there. But again, and we'll get to the professionals here in a minute, but
yep,
I don't want to say this Giants team is good, but they're sneaky good.
Yeah, they're 5-1 right now, and listen, Dabble has them playing very well.
Yeah, he's got Daniel Jones looking like an actual quarterback, which I didn't think was ever going to be possible.
I mean, they're running him a lot. I mean, I think the least carry he has in a game is 6. And they're designed runs most of the time, and even when they're not designed runs, he's athletic and fast.
Yeah.
He's not nimble. He trips himself up before he gets to the touchdown, before he gets to the end zone. But he's athletic enough, he's fast enough, and they're designing runs for him.
Right. All right. So we've got getting off of my lock of the week, but staying on the game. Jacksonville -3. That was the interesting part for me. Jacksonville giving up points to a 5-1 team.
Jacksonville at home.
All right, we've got the over/under set at 43.5. Money line on my screen is looking very heavy for New York. What are the pros saying?
So the bet percentage is a little heavy on money line New York. It's 60%, 54% on New York plus the 3. And then the over 43.5 is 68% of the bet percentage. So the money changes a little bit. Money is Jacksonville minus the 3 at 69%. But it's also 61% money line New York. Again, this game projects to be close. The money showing on money line Giants shows that they can win this game even as an underdog, quote unquote. And then you got 69% of the money on over 43.5. And when we're looking at the value index tool, it tells you to take the Giants. Basically, it says the Giants are going to win this game 23-22 in all the projections that have panned out, have played out. So it has the Giants actually winning this game when they average out all the scenarios that they ran, which means getting the 3 points is just a topping.
Mm-hmm. It's not a bad thing, though. Especially with a game that could be as close as they're expecting.
Yep, absolutely.
That 3 points could make a world of difference for you.
And if I had to choose, I really do like the Giants in this game, honestly.
I'm I've bet them heavy this week.
Yeah. I don't remember who I took in our bets on Tuesday. I always forget who I take in the bets on Tuesday because it's so early in the week. But if I were to take it now, I would probably take the Giants.
Okay. What are you looking at fantasy-wise? Because both of these teams still don't impress me when it comes to fantasy stats.
Yeah, no. So
outside of Saquon.
Right. So I like Trevor as in a 2-quarterback league. Okay. I also like Daniel Jones in a 2-quarterback league. I think both those guys have play this week.
Sorry, I don't know if you caught that, but my eyes just rolled to the back of my head. Like,
yeah,
I can't believe we actually said that on air.
I mean, listen, we're talking 2-quarterback leagues, and when you look at what Daniel Jones has scored throughout his first 6 games, it's quarterback 2 worthy.
Okay.
And he's scoring points. He's in one of our league of record. He's been in the 30s 3 times. He's been over 25 in a couple of those other games. He's holding his own as far as scoring points in fantasy. And obviously it's working out well in reality. They're 5-1, but I don't like either one of these guys necessarily in a 1-quarterback league. So that's not the case. But in a 2-quarterback league, you could do worse than either one of these guys this week. In a game where they're playing against each other, and there could be some points scored in this game. I mean, you're looking at the money percentage. Money is 70% on the over at 43.5, so there could be some points scored in this game. If we're looking at running backs, obviously Saquon's been a beast this year. I mean, that guy's been everything that people hoped he could be since his rookie year. And
because he's finally healthy.
He's healthy, and they're using him accordingly. Mm-hmm. Brian Daboll is finally using him accordingly, and he's getting the run and he's getting the points. I believe he's RB2 on the year in fantasy scoring. He hasn't finished lower than RB17 all year. He's averaging 23.3 touches a game and 128.5 total yards a game. That's a fantasy stud right there, and
it is.
You're happy about that, and you're just hoping that the injury bug doesn't hit him again. Looks like ETN's been basically a big play away from happening since like week 3. He's averaging 12.3 touches a game, 82.3 total yards a game over the last 4 games. He's 22 in yards after contact per attempt. I like he's starting to chip away at the timeshare that is there with him and Robinson. Robinson has declined. Robinson continues to decline. His first few games were great, but his snap share has kind of dwindled down to about 40% now. So ETN is getting the bulk. Not huge, but he's getting the bulk of the running back duties back there. So, I mean, he's a guy that I think as the season goes on, he's just going to get better and better, and they're going to use him more and more. I wouldn't be against using him in this game, especially in DFS. Receivers, I don't know, man. I love Wan'Dale Robinson on New York. I just don't know if it's time for him to break out yet or not. I think you're going to see a breakout game for Wan'Dale Robinson coming up here pretty soon. He was injured for the first part of the season, but through camp, he was the guy. And everyone was talking about him. You got Slayton, who can blow up at any time. But I don't necessarily like any of those receivers enough to really take a shot on them anywhere. I guess you could do worse than Wan'Dale Robinson as like a flyer wide receiver 3, maybe. Like a roll the dice kind of thing. And listen, Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, those are guys you could roll a dice on. But I mean, Zay Jones is basically a wide receiver 5 or 6. So if you've got buys, if you've got injuries and you got to start him, well, that's one thing. But I wouldn't be playing him in a league where I actually had other options. And Evan Ingram's been a guy that's been surprising. He's tight end 19, but he's gotten better as the season's gone on. He looks pretty good. His rapport with Trevor Lawrence is pretty good. So I mean, you could do worse, but nothing truly stands out in this game as anybody's going to blow up. It could happen in every single game, any given Sunday, but it's nothing really stands out.
It's a game of inches, man. Any given Sunday. Sorry, I had to. Anything else on this one, buddy?
No, we're good.
Sorry, I had to take the bad joke there. All right, we are going with
Andrew said J-Rob's snap share going to be down to 25% this week, I bet.
Okay.
I wouldn't disagree with that. I don't think it's going to be quite down 25%. But it's been 40%. I'd say it could drop down to 35. It might be a 75-35. But it's projecting in that direction. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. We've got Indy, Tennessee. Spreads at 2.5, and that is Tennessee laying the 2.5. Over under set at 43. Money line's looking pretty even on my screen.
Yeah, so bet percentages here have it's basically dead nuts even on the spread. And then money line has Tennessee 60% with the bet percentage, and the unders at 53%, slightly more. Money percentage has basically it's dead even money wise. Indianapolis, Tennessee on money line and on the spread. Indianapolis has a slight edge on getting the points as far as money percentage goes. Money line is Tennessee has a slight more money on it, just a little bit. And then 71% of the money is on the under, 42.5 in this game. I don't personally like anything in this game if I were to look at it with my own eyes. Like, I just don't. But we're going to look at the value index tool here, and it's telling you to take Indianapolis. It has them winning this game 24-22, which means if you're getting the 2.5 points, you've got a 4.5 point cushion, right? So the value index tool is telling you to take Indianapolis.
Okay. And I don't know what your screen's showing, but I've got them money line as the underdog.
Indianapolis is money line underdog. They're getting the 2.5 points. Yeah, I mean they're if you take them money line, it's not a bad play today. You're getting I see plus 123 at Bet Rivers. It could be better than that elsewhere, possibly right before game time. But yeah, I would absolutely take Indianapolis money line based on the value index tool telling me what it tells me. And plus money's plus money. And,
for sure.
And in a game that's projected to be this close, I'll take it.
Yeah, I would. I mean, it's one personally I'm staying away from just because I have no interest in watching it, and I try to only bet on what I plan on watching. But fantasy-wise, what are you thinking?
I'll let you lead this one off fantasy-wise.
I'm not touching it.
Yeah.
As far as Matt Ryan goes, I mean, you've got the numbers in front of you, but Matt Ryan, I don't even think would crack my QB2. It's even in a situation like I have right now, my fantasy team, I don't have a QB2.
Right.
Because of my bye week. I'm rolling without one. I could pick up a guy like Matt Ryan. It's not worth it, in my opinion. On the Tennessee side of the ball, Derrick Henry, do you trust him to go off? I mean, he seems to be very hot and cold. On the flip side of it, you've got Jonathan Taylor, who's finally healthy. So probably playing him just because he's the number 1 overall pick. If he's healthy, you got to go with him. When we get to receivers, if you're desperate, find somebody. Like I don't even know who the receivers on these two teams are outside of Pittman.
So yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're looking at it, I'll break down from the top to the bottom here. I'll get to my receivers, but I think there could be points scored in this game. I don't actually like the under in this game. I think there could be points scored in this game, fantasy wise.
Okay.
I actually do like Matt Ryan in this game.
Really?
Not a shock. Our opinions differ on something. It happens.
There's also a reason why you're good at fantasy, and I'm an atrocity. So
well, I don't know how good I am this year, but I'm about average this year, honestly. But Matt Ryan, I have him ranked as my number 12 overall quarterback. So he's borderline quarterback 1 this week.
Okay.
Against a very beatable Tennessee defense. Last week, you look at, I mean, he threw the ball a ton last week and scored. I think he was the top quarterback last week, Matt Ryan was. Yeah, it actually looks like Andrew agrees with me. Ryan going to have a solid game against Titans D. So looking at this, he's right in the quarterback 1 category this week. And if you need to pick him up to be a quarterback too, I would be all for that. So you might change your opinion based on this, depending on who you have to drop. I don't know.
Cousins.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that then. So Taylor's practicing full this week. Looking at the running backs, you can consider him back to be 100%. He's averaged 22.6 touches and 93 total yards this season as the RB20. It's not what you expect out of your number one pick or number two pick, depending on what league you were in and what happened. But you're kind of crossing your fingers. He was a buy low candidate for me. I actually traded for him in I think 2 leagues. I had drafted him in 2 other leagues. So I have him in 4 leagues now, and I'm hoping that his season turns around because listen, I got a number 1 overall draft pick for not a lot when it came down to trading for him, so I was willing to do it because people were kind of frustrated with him. He was hurt and didn't play well before that. Team wasn't using him very well. They weren't getting big running lanes. Looking at Derrick Henry, I mean, this dude's a lock for like 20 touches a game. You're playing him, and the more volume he gets, the better he's going to be. And then Michael Pittman, listen, he's the wide receiver 9 in fantasy points per game. He had a bounce back game last week. He was hurt at one point this season. I love Michael Pittman. I think he's a great receiver in this league, and he's going to continue to be. I like him in this game and for the season. And last week, 2 guys jumped out when Matt Ryan was actually getting good rapport with them, and it was Alec Pierce, who's a rookie, who has he had a season high 65% snap share last week, but everybody was talking about him during the preseason, and he's shown signs, but I think the more him and Matt Ryan get a rapport with each other, the better they're going to be. Paris Campbell had a big game last week as well, but he saw a 19.3% target share. I like Alec Pierce a little more in this game, but I like both those players against a very beatable Tennessee defense. I lean Alec Pierce. I actually picked him up in our league of record. I have him in another league. I'm starting him in my league of record this week in our league.
Okay.
I'm starting him as my number 2 wide receiver over Cortland Sutton. I have Justin Jefferson on a bye, and I had D-Hop, which he played. He had a good week back, but I'm starting Alec Pierce over Cortland Sutton. No Russ Wilson. They're starting Brett Rippon at quarterback. Sutton's a better receiver at this point, but Alec Pierce has a lot of upside, and I'm starting Alec Pierce this week in a matchup against the Tennessee defense that is a plus matchup for sure.
And from our chat online, it's definitely looking like Andrew agrees with you.
Oh,
He said having Alec Pierce step up like he did, like he has at 3rd on the wide receiver depth chart, has helped this team tremendously.
absolutely. I 100% agree with that.
Outside of that, you got anything on this game? I mean, it's
No,
a pretty uneventful game. I do agree with
is.
you, Andrew. Just do Taylor versus Henry. If you just let Jonathan Taylor and Derrick
Yeah.
Henry just have a runoff,
Yeah.
and make this game so much more entertaining.
Yeah, it would. 2 of the best in the game. But I have nothing else on this game. The only receiver on the other side of the ball that I'm looking at possibly playing is Robert Woods.
Okay, and that's just based on how many looks he's getting.
Right, like he's the guy.
Right.
So
Really, my computer's gonna go slow now. There we go. This thing works perfectly fine, and it's like, okay, the one time it's gonna go slow, it's gonna be right in the middle of the show. All right, we've got Packers Commanders. We've got Washington getting 4.5. Over under set at 41.5. Money line on my screen looking very heavy for Green Bay.
yeah, so bet percentage is heavy, a little heavy on. It's 57% on Green Bay minus the 4.5. It's very heavy on the money line, 86%. And over under is about dead even. But when you look at the money percentage, money is 71% Washington plus 4.5, but 75% Green Bay money line, and then 75% on the under in this game. Our value index tool has this game playing out. Has you taking Washington. It has Green Bay winning this game, and it has you taking the under as well. It has Green Bay winning this game 19-16. So if you're taking the 4.5 points, you're going to be a winner in this one if you take Washington according to this tool.
It's interesting. It's because I don't see. I mean, I guess especially with myself being a Rodgers fan, I don't see Green Bay being that bad.
They haven't been great.
And I know they haven't been good, but I mean, it's just we knew wide receiver would be an issue there. But I didn't realize it'd be this big of an issue, though.
Well, so like looking at this game fantasy wise and reality wise, kind of a little bit. You know, this one projects to be one of the slowest games on the slate.
Okay.
You know, you got Washington is 21st in neutral pace, and the Packers are very much below them at 27th. So you're looking at a game that's going to be a plotter and a slow paced game, which again bodes well for the under in this game. And you know, if you're looking at fantasy wise, I'm not really. Rodgers is like a low end quarterback 1, high end quarterback 2 this week, and he's been about there all season. He's had a dud, and then he's been kind of like average, right? I personally have him rated right around the Tua, Geno Smith area right now, Matt Ryan area, like right around in there. So if Ryan's my 12. I've got Rodgers at like 10. So low end quarterback 1, high end quarterback 2.
We are really talking about Geno as QB1 right now.
Yeah, Geno. I got Geno at 11 this week.
No, and like we were talking about it last week during the games, the stat popped up. If you're going based solely off of QBR, Geno's QB1. I mean, I don't know what the numbers have done since last week, but going into last week, he was QB1. Like,
He's stepped up tremendously. The thing of it is, do you expect that to continue? I think he's going to do good this week. It's about whether he can actually hold weight all season. You know what I mean? In this one, you got Taylor Heineke starting on the other side of the ball. Wentz is out for at least 4 weeks. They put him on IR. So Heineke brings something that Wentz didn't bring, though. Heineke can run. And if they have some design run plays for him, that can throw off Green Bay a little bit. I don't have him rated high enough to play him. You know, he's in my top 25.
Okay.
But I don't have him rated high enough for you to play him in fantasy. If you want to take a flyer on him in a DFS tournament, he might be a good contrarian play, but that's about it. I think the game you're going to want to watch in this one is the run game. I think it's going to be a plotter. It's going to be a run game. Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon. Is this the game where A.J. Dillon finally gets right and goes off and is the guy you saw the last half of last year? It could be. You got...
Which version of Aaron Jones you getting?
Well, and that's it. And A.J. Dillon's actually got a 47% to Aaron Jones' 45 as far as percentage of rushing attempts goes. Target shares 11 to Aaron Jones, 9 for A.J. Dillon.
It's pretty even.
You know, it's pretty dead nuts even. They've got 2 very good running backs there, and that's why neither one of them really go off very much. Is they're using them very even. And
Right.
To me, A.J. Dillon is the better running back visually. Aaron Jones is the better pass catcher, but A.J. Dillon's not bad at that either. And I this could be the game where A.J. Dillon has an A.J. Dillon game from last year. You know, he could have a 20-point game, 22-point game. On the other side of the ball, I'm looking at Brian Robinson. I mean, rushing percent. Last week he came back. He had a 60% rushing percentage. Antonio Brown only had 17.9, and McKissick had 7. So target share, Brian Robinson didn't get any targets. None. And Antonio Gibson had 17.4. J.D. McKissick had 13. So both those guys are almost unusable as far as Antonio Gibson and J.D. McKissick because you don't know, maybe one week they could have a good game, then they'll fall off for 2 or 3. Right now, Brian Robinson's your guy. And in a game that projects to be a run-the-ball game, I like Brian Robinson in this game. I like him for the season, the rest of the season as well. If you're looking at wide receivers, Lazard, Dobbs, McLaurin, and Samuel are to me, all those guys are a wide receiver 3 this week. I don't really see any of them being higher than that in a game that projects to be a run first game. So start them at your risk.
Okay. Anything else on that one?
Tanyan, you could do worse. Tight end position is tough, right? And you could do worse than Tanyan. Listen, he weeks 1 through 5, Tanyan had a 12% target share. Last week, those numbers increased to 27%. So if that continues, it'll be a good start for you. It's just whether those numbers continue or not.
Okay.
So it's a shot in the dark. And Logan Thomas has been ruled out, by the way. So
Logan Thomas is out.
Yeah. So
Okay.
don't play him. But I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on the fantasy aspect of any of that?
Of that game? No, not really. Like, I hate to keep saying it, but it's such an uneventful year for some guys that
It is.
you know, with all the football, I'm not like you guys where I'm into the stats and everything. I just enjoy watching it. So off the eye test, like, there's nobody who really sticks out.
Yep. No, I don't disagree with you.
All right. We're looking a couple minutes. They should be calling. So you want to hop into Detroit, Dallas?
Not yet. Well,
Not yet?
I think once we take their phone call, then we'll do our
Okay.
breakdown of the Detroit Dallas game. After that, we can go ahead and hit on another game or two.
All right. So we're going into the 4 o'clocks now.
All right.
New York, Denver. That would be the New York Jets.
The Jets, Jets.
The other good team
In New York.
New York.
There's 3 good teams in New York.
Well, Andrew pointed this out to me earlier in the week. There's one good team in New York. There's 2 good teams in New Jersey.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
All right. So Jets, Broncos. Denver is getting a 1.5. Who's their quarterback again?
Denver,
Yeah.
Brett Rippon.
Okay. And they're getting a 1.5. Can we give them 15?
Yeah, I'm personally, before we get into anything, I'm big on the Jets in this game. I was big on the Jets in this game before Russell Wilson was ruled out. I'm even bigger on the Jets now. And if you had a chance to pick up the Jets defense in your fantasy league, or you want to play them in DFS, play them. Do it. But yeah, so looking at bet percentage, 69% is on New York minus the 2, 83% is on Jets money line. And then if you're looking at the money percentage, the money switches it over a little bit, which is weird for me. They're about even on money percentage across the board, other than on the under at 36.5 in this game, which I love the under in this game. But if you're looking at the Jets, the Jets, Jets, they are projected to win this game by 8 points. So the value index tool tells you to take the Jets very heavily. So take that and do what you will with it. But the value index tool says to take the Jets. They are actually the second highest value index team this week.
Interesting.
Yep.
But at the same time, I don't disagree with it.
I don't either.
If you look at the spread, they're getting a 1.5, but you look at money line, they're the favorite. Like, it's not too often a situation like that happens.
Well, no, the Jets are giving up.
Oh, you got the Jets giving up.
Jets are giving up points.
Then did my shit change? No.
Yeah, I got the Jets giving up. I got Denver getting either a 1.5 or 2 points, depending on where it's at.
Okay, we've got 2 different things going on there.
Yeah, it's swapped once Russ was ruled out, I believe.
Okay, that would make more sense.
Yep.
All right, then we will ignore the rest of these numbers. Fantasy-wise, fantasy-wise, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Wilson.
Not this week.
Obviously not this week. Denver's defense is the one semi-bright spot about that team. Mm-hmm. But going forward, QB2?
Depending on matchup, yeah.
Fringe?
Depending on matchup, yeah. He hasn't looked how I thought he might look, considering Joe Flacco looked pretty good with this offense. But the defense has been good. They've got that running game going with Breece Hall.
That
I think
defense, dude. That defense.
They've looked good. And
night and day from last year. I understand Sauce is
Robert Saleh. Robert
And
Saleh.
I understand that Sauce is a lockdown corner, and for a dude who was drafted in the top 5, that's the type of dude you expect to get. But, like, seriously, he's been otherworldly.
Yep.
Denver, What are you looking at fantasy-wise? I mean, New York doesn't have a lot, at least as far as what I've seen. Defense probably.
So I'm not looking at a lot fantasy-wise in this game at all because
Okay.
both defenses are going to be good. I'm looking at taking the Jets in fantasy and the Broncos in fantasy as well as DFS. The lone bright spot I see fantasy-wise in this entire matchup is going to be Breece Hall and possibly Latavius Murray because he took over the backfield from Melvin Gordon. Both those guys could get it going. Breece Hall has been tremendous. I mean, he's RB8 in fantasy points per game on the year. So, I mean, the kid is producing. And they're giving him a 60, almost 62% rushing attempt percentage. He's got a 14% target share, 51.8% route run percentage. Red zone opportunities are 15 to Michael Carter's 9. So he's the guy, and he's the lone bright spot. And then again, maybe a flyer on Latavius Murray if he continues to take the backfield away from Melvin Gordon, which we'll see how that plays out. Elijah Moore is out this week, and this is an intriguing one because he expressed his concern and his frustration with not getting looks, not getting the ball a whole lot, and now this week he missed a practice for personal reasons. Cam Akers, and then he is ruled out for this week. So I believe they're looking to trade Elijah Moore at this point. I think he's on the outs with the coaching staff. I think they're looking to trade him. They've got Garrett Wilson. They've got Corey Davis. I think Elijah Moore has found himself in the doghouse on the outskirts, and they're looking to trade him. And if they can't do it before the trade deadline, he's going to be just muddling around on this roster. I don't see a lot of passing coming out of this game, so I would stay away from any of these guys, truthfully, in this game. Like I told you, I'm sitting Cortland Sutton. I'm sitting him. I have him in like 3 or 4 leagues. I'm sitting him.
Dude, I'm not touching Denver when it comes to fantasy.
Sutton has still gotten points amazingly, even with Russ being a fucking dog shit quarterback this year. Sutton has still gotten his points for the most part, but I don't trust him in this game. I was borderline wanting to sit him before Russ was ruled out. Once Russ was ruled out, I was like, nah, I'm definitely not.
Right.
Not a chance in hell.
All right. You looking at anything else with this one?
Nah, we can move on from that one.
All right. I figured as much, but I just wanted to double check one last time. Vegas, Houston. The battle of 2 one-win teams.
Barn burner.
Even being a Raiders fan, I don't want to watch this one. All right. So we've got Houston getting 7 points. We're looking at the over-under at 46. Before we continue, do you have Houston getting 7 points?
Let's see.
Or at least getting points
I
in
have
general?
them. Yeah, so it depends where you look. I have them getting either 6.5 or 7. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I just wanted to make sure at least this one was accurate.
Yeah.
Over-under set at 46. Money line obviously favoring the Raiders, and it's heavy on my side. So, what are we thinking?
Well, so all right, bet percentage is a little bit over as 55% favoring Vegas, giving up 6.5, depending on where you look.
Yeah, I got 46 on mine.
92% bet percentage is on Vegas money line, 76% on the over. But when you look at the money percentage, it evens out a little bit. It's got Houston getting the 6.5. It's got only 55% on Vegas money line with the money percentage, and then 69% is on the under. If you're looking at the value index tool, it has Houston being the team to take in this one. It has Las Vegas beating them 26-21, which is obviously within the 6.5 and 7 points that you would be getting depending on where you look. So they're telling you Houston is the team to take with a 1.5 value index. Not a great value index there, but it's still telling you that Houston's the team to take, that they're going to be within that 6.5, 7 points.
Okay. Are you looking at anything fantasy-wise? I feel like I've said this for like 7 matchups now, but this is just...
Yeah,
I mean, Carr QB2 probably.
I actually have
Devontae,
Carr.
obviously.
I actually have Carr's a QB1 this week.
Really?
He's been a QB1 on the season. He's quarterback 12 in fantasy scoring over
Okay.
the season. So he's been a quarterback 1. I have him rated this week above Dak, under Kyler. So he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's my 7th rated quarterback on the week. And then Davis Mills, I'm not playing him. He's way down the list. I don't even think he's in my top 25 this week. You're not playing him. And then you look at running back wise, Josh Jacobs has he's been good, man. He's averaging a huge 29 to 30, 29.5 touches a game.
He's finally getting used the way he should be getting used.
It's unbelievable. You're right. This is what we talked about for 4 years now.
Right.
He's finally getting used how he should be used. He's got 184 total yards, RB5 in fantasy points per game. Over the last two, he's played at least 81% of the snaps. I mean, he's getting all of the play. And Dameon Pierce, same thing. Dameon Pierce is 90% rushing percentage over Rex Burkhead's 7%. Target share is Dameon Pierce 18.6 to Burkhead's 13.6, and Burkhead's considered the receiving back, but Dameon Pierce is still getting more target share.
Okay.
And red zone opportunities, Dameon Pierce is 3 to Burkhead's 1. I mean, Dameon Pierce is the guy there. He's a guy that you can continue to roll with in that offense. I don't really like anybody wide receiver wise other than Devontae Adams in this game. Maybe Cooks as a wide receiver 3. He's only wide receiver 45 in fantasy points per game, despite the fact he actually has a 26% target share, which is 19th in the league. So he's getting the targets, just not getting the deep balls, the catches, the open routes. You still can roll with him as a wide receiver 3, especially in a week where you have some bye week wide receivers out like Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. He's a guy that you can roll with as a wide receiver 3.
Okay.
And Waller's been ruled out, by the way.
Waller has been ruled out.
Waller's been ruled out.
Okay. I know they said earlier in the week that it was expecting to be the case, but I didn't know for sure what was going to end up happening. All right. Anything else on that game?
No, we can move on.
All right. We've got back to Geno Smith. We've got the QB1 versus the guy we expected to be QB1. The Seahawks versus Chargers. Chargers are Seattle is getting 5 points. Over under set at 50.5. Money line looking heavy on my side, at least, for Los Angeles.
Yeah, so let's see. If I look at my percentages here based on overall the world percentage, so you got 72% of the bet percentage is on Seattle plus the 4.5. 58% is on Seattle money line bet percentage. Money percentage, it jumps up even farther. 88% is on Seattle plus 4.5. 87% is on Seattle money line. 69% of the money is on the over at 51. If we look at our value index tool here, we're going to see that everything is telling you to take Seattle. Seattle is, the value index tool has them actually winning this game 26-25 out of all the simulations and projections, which means they're the team to take at basically a 5.5 value index rating.
Okay. What are we looking at fantasy-wise?
So I do like Geno in this game. I have him as my 11th rated quarterback. We kind of talked about that earlier. And you talked about it. It's hard to envision that, but I mean that's the case, right?
Like you just said it again, and I was like, "This is not real life. This is just not real life."
It's so difficult to envision that, but that's the case.
And it's not even a situation of I can't believe Geno's doing okay. This was expected to be the worst quarterback situation in the league.
Yeah.
So for him to be 7
with
weeks
Geno and Drew Lock, yeah, it was
6-7 weeks into the season, and Geno's in the conversation at minimum for QB1. Like, come on,
right?
And I don't mean to keep going on about it, but it's just that unbelievable.
Well, and Justin Herbert's had a down year. He got injured as well.
Yeah, and I'm wondering how much that's still playing into things.
I think it does. Listen, it was a rib injury, right? It was a rib cartilage injury.
Yeah.
So it does play a factor in it, I think. He's a top 12 quarterback ranked weekly. I have him at 3 this week. I think this is a big game for him. Listen, that Seattle defense is very, very bad. And as people who live in Detroit, we saw that. and the Detroit Lions had a monster game against them. They still lost the game, but they had a monster game offensively against them.
There's like one, maybe two defenses that are worse than Seattle's, and one of them happens to be here.
Yeah, and I actually look at this game to be a big offensive game. I like the over in this game. Kenneth Walker you play Kenneth Walker. He's that dude. Like, Kenneth Walker's that dude. And then on the other side of the ball, you got Austin Eckler. I think he's going to have a damn good game, and he's proven that he's the guy there, right? I'm starting all my receivers in this game, man. I like them all. I like the offenses in this game. Metcalf, Lockett, Williams. If Allen comes back, I'm even playing him in his first game back. He sat out quite a while. If he's back, he's back, and I'm going to play him. Even Gerald Everett, possibly Will Dissly. Flip a coin between him and Noah Fant. Which one's gonna have a good game that week?
Yeah.
But I love all the offense in this game on both sides of the ball.
Okay. Defensively, question about the Chargers. One week they seem to be legit, and the next week they seem to be a little bit suspect.
Well, the one week they seemed legit was against Denver, and every defense is good against Denver. So yeah, I'm not really rolling with them. I think this is going to be a good offensive game on both sides. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored in this game. Between let Geno cook and Walker, the 27th or the 3rd or whatever he is. We'll just call him that dude. How's that?
Hey, he was a Sparty boy for a year, so I will take it.
Yeah.
Anything else on that one?
No, we're good to move on from that one.
And again, like, for all the matchups that aren't worth watching, that's one that I'm actually interested in seeing.
Listen, if you're looking at offense, if you want to see offense, if offense is exciting to you, which it is to all of us, watch that game. That'll be a good game to watch.
All right, so we are moving on to, looks like the last of the 4 o'clock. Well, sorry, 4:30. Kansas City, San Fran.
4:25.
4:25. My bad. 4 o'clock, 4:30, 4:25, 4:15. Whenever the game before it ends, that's when the kickoff will be. Kansas City, San Fran. Kansas City is -1.5. Over under set at 49 even. Money line, San Fran is even on my screen.
So bet percentage has a very large percent. Sports on Tap. We said at Sports on Tap, love the over in the Seattle game.
Okay.
I'm guessing that was Chris.
Either that or Lady Friend.
Or Lady Friend. But I'm guessing if they're saying they love the over in the Seattle game, I'm guessing it is not Lady Friend.
No, it's definitely Lady Friend.
It's gotcha. Yeah, and the money would back that up actually. So and I'm with you there. I like the over in that game. Even at 51, I think that game hits the over. Let's see. So bet percentage is heavy on KC in this game. 70% on them minus the 1, 69% on the money line, 55% on the over 49. Now, if you look at the money percentage, you've got 61% of the money on -1.5 Kansas City, 79% on the money line, and just 54% on the over in this game. Switching over to the value index tool. Value index tool actually has this as a San Francisco pick here, not by a lot, but they have them losing this game 24.6 to 24.5. So they have it being a very close game. Very, very close game in all the simulations. So it's telling you to take San Francisco, but it's not a heavy bet there.
This is one I wish would have been the night matchup because
I
really
agree.
think this would be a good game.
I agree with you. Even though Pitt Miami looked like it was going to be a better matchup earlier on in the season than it is now, I am looking forward to seeing Tua come back from that injury in the night game tonight. Maybe see Kenny Pickett, see if he can rise to the occasion.
At least,
but
get
I
to
would rather,
watch him.
I would definitely rather see KC San Francisco in that game. It'd be a much better game.
Fantasy wise, what are we looking
Play
at?
everybody.
Play all of them.
So, and in this game, I'm going to tell you, the player that I picked up and dropped Foreman for is in this game. And Chris, you called this one right. Isaiah Pacheco got all the starting reps in practice this week, and he's their starter today.
Okay.
Isaiah Pacheco is now the starting running back for the Kansas City Chiefs. His rushing percentage attempts have gone up increasingly, but not to where you thought he was going to take over the starting job just yet. But he got all the starting reps throughout this week, and he is named the starter in this game. So watch out for Isaiah Pacheco. If he's available in your leagues, go pick him up. Now, I picked him up in a couple leagues today. Listen, he's worth that spot on your bench. I'm a wait and see on him. I actually got a text as I picked him up in one of my leagues this morning as I was getting ready to come here. A buddy of mine from work texted me and said, hey, are you starting him this week? I picked him up in a couple leagues myself. I'm looking to do it. I saw that you just grabbed him off the waivers. And I was like, I'm a wait and see on him because in any of the leagues that I picked him up in, I have better running backs to start. So it depends on how you are. If you have buys, if you have Miles, like he said, he has Swift who's out. Miles Sanders is on a bye. His other guys are Drake, Robinson, and James Robinson, not Bryant, and then Isaiah Pacheco, who he just picked up. I go, honestly, I might roll with Pacheco on that one because Drake, you don't know. I mean, any of those are a flyer, right? We talked about James Robinson, his snap shares coming down. So Pacheco's a guy that you can play in that situation. If you have better guys, he's a wait and see. For me, in the leagues I picked him up in, he's a wait and see.
Okay.
I want to see how it plays out, but he has been named the starter. I put him in some DFS lineups this morning.
We thinking anything else here?
So the other side of the ball on the running back situation, like Christian McCaffrey, right? He's brand new to the team, so
They have plays set aside.
They do. So that what basically I would expect him to be in a few plays here and there, maybe third down. Definitely like red zone package. He'll probably be in the red zone package. Running backs are a little easier to get up to speed, right? You're not.
Hit
run,
this hole, hit
run,
this hole.
run right, run left. You know what I mean? Like it's more precise, and you can tell the guy where to go. Now route running is a little different in that scenario, but he's a great pass catcher, and I'm sure he can pick that up. He's not going to be the main back this week in just getting there, but he's going to get enough play that I'm still playing him in a league that I have him in. I only have him in one league, and I'm playing him. Listen, he's Christian McCaffrey. I mean, if he gets red zone work, he's worth a shot, right?
For sure.
He's better than some of the backups you're gonna possibly put in his place. So
I would have been more than happy to have ended up with him.
yeah. So I mean, you take that, and wide receivers. Deebo Samuel's the only main guy that I would start at any of these guys. Kansas City receivers are crapshoot every week, right? I'd rather go play craps actually. And then Ayuk has been pretty good, 22.6% target share, 22.8 target per route run rate.
Had a big week last week.
Yeah, had a big week last week. You could do worse, and Jimmy G's been looking pretty good, right? I mean, he hasn't been typical Jimmy G. He's actually looked pretty decent, right? I mean, he's been serviceable in fantasy. Obviously, Travis Kelce and Kittle, you're playing them if you have them. Not even going to touch on that. Goodbye.
There are certain people, and I was going to say this earlier, there are certain people that we just don't bring up because you should know that you're starting them. Like, there are just those guys in fantasy. Jonathan Taylor, one of them. Like, you just have to start him. If you drafted him in the first round, you have to start the guy. Outside of the fact that both of us are excited to watch it, what are you thinking?
Excited to watch
Kansas City and
Yeah.
San Fran.
My thoughts are San Francisco actually wins this game.
Okay.
Now that's just kind of a hunch. You know, it's not deep rooted in like research or anything like that, but they're playing well. The defense is good. I see this being a close game, but I see San Francisco being able to pull this out. In San Francisco at home.
Okay. All right. We are moving on to the night game now. We've got Miami versus Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is getting 7.5. Over under set at 44.5. Money line on my side is looking pretty heavy on Miami.
Yeah, so let's see. Bet percentage is on Miami minus the 7.5, 54%. 57% is the money line. Miami. And 67% bet percentage is over 44.5. Now, when you switch over to the money percentage, 75% takes Miami money line. Just 53 takes them minus the 7.5. And you have 87% of the money on the over 44.5. Switching over to the value index tool, that tells you that Pittsburgh is the team to take in this game. It actually has them staying within a couple of points in this game. Basically within 3. It has Miami winning this game 19-16, which I don't trust that score as much. I think this might be a little bit higher of a scoring game than that, but I could be wrong. But this tells you to take Pittsburgh getting the 7.5 that points that they're getting.
Okay.
I don't necessarily know that I agree with that or like that, but listen,
That's what it says.
The experts have it, and who am I to question it?
I was going to say, we give our opinions, but we're giving them what the experts say.
Listen.
So, fantasy-wise, Pittsburgh, I'm not thinking much of anything on that side. Obviously, Najee, you're probably going to have to start just because of where you drafted him. Receiver-wise, what are you thinking over there?
I have Tua as my 10th quarterback for the week. I like him as a QB1 this week. I actually picked him up in a league where he got dropped. Picked him up a couple leagues where he got dropped, actually. I have him in our league of record as we start 2 quarterbacks. And my quarterbacks that I got stuck with, because I spent a ton of money on other players. Quarterbacks I got stuck with, I don't have either one of them on my roster anymore.
Okay.
So
what are you rolling with as
I'm rolling
now?
with Tua and Daniel Jones.
Okay.
And listen, reality, fantasy, they've been good. And Tua's been out for a while, obviously, so I'm rolling on the fact that he's going to come back with those weapons and be good. But Daniel Jones has been all right for me. And I like him in this game. I like Tua in this game.
That's what I was going to hit on with when it came to Miami. Like, yes, I know Tua's coming off of an injury. Yes, I know his head's barely screwed on right now. But the risk-reward is there. Like, if Tua comes back and does what he does, both of those receivers, Hill and Waddle, like, that could be a huge game for Miami.
It could be a big game for Miami's offense. I mean, listen, you've got Waddle, you've got Tyreek Hill, Tua. When he was in there, he was balling, and he's I think he's ranked 6th in PFF passing grade. So he's getting the job done. And with receivers like that, how can you not, right? I mean, even if you're having an off game, if you get the ball in their hands, both those guys can break it to the house at any point in time. So, get them involved any way you can. I think this could be a very good game for that offense. Like I said, I've got Tua as my 10th rated quarterback of the week. Kenny Pickett, listen, he's in my top 25. Not sure I'm happy about playing him if I have to. I wouldn't, but I mean, I like the kid in real life. I think he's going to be a decent quarterback in the league. I just don't necessarily know that I want to be starting him in fantasy at any point soon. Najee finally busted out.
Finally.
Right? I mean, he finally did, right? Oh, and Lady Friend says, I concur. I see San Francisco winning this game. That was Chris. LOL.
So which one was Chris? Was the Sports on Tap one Chris? Or was the one under her name Chris?
I think she's saying the Sports on Tap one was Chris. And I think she was the one saying San Francisco's going to win the game and then telling us that the Sports on Tap one was Chris.
Okay.
If I'm interpreting that correctly.
I would sit here and overanalyze it, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Nope. So let's see. We have Raheem Mostert since week 4. Mostert's taken over the running back roles, right? He's handled 69% of the rushing attempts, 57% of the routes. He's been the guy over Chase Edmonds. I would play him in this game if you have him as a flex. If you have to start him as an RB2, if you have some buys or some injuries, you could do worse. And she says he is driving, so I am commenting for him.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, that's good to know. All right, that unconfused us.
Yeah, so we here at Sports on Tap do not encourage texting and driving or Facebooking and driving.
No, we don't.
any of those things.
We don't at
so
all.
Chris, I appreciate you being a positive role model for those watching.
Yes. So looking at the wide receivers in this game, Deontay Johnson, George Pickens. I like George Pickens a lot. I think he has a good rapport with Kenny Pickett and Pickens. I don't necessarily think I'm happy about starting him, but I actually am starting him, and I think in 2 leagues. One of those leagues, I'm sitting Sutton for him.
Okay.
So I'm playing Alec Pierce in 1 league for Sutton. I'm playing Pickens in 1 league over Sutton. I just don't like that. Allison says, lady friend says, I do what I can. I'm guessing she's commenting for Chris again. And then Waddle and Hill. Obviously, you're playing those guys. Gesicki had a big game last week. And I don't necessarily know that I trust him, though. Like, he's been very untrustworthy as a starting tight end for you, so I don't really know that I trust him. Freiermuth, you could do worse. I don't really look at tight end position is so difficult that you're kind of stuck starting guys you might not want to start. You know, Freiermuth is down my list. He's probably like 14th. If I'm seeing this correct, yeah, I'm like 14th. And Gesicki's even lower than that. So neither one of these guys really were starting, in my opinion.
Okay. Anything else on that game?
No, I think we're good. And unfortunately, we still haven't received a phone call from the guys at what was it?
Straight no chaser.
Straight no chaser.
But I guess we can hop into the game and then we can.
So what? Don't we have one other game?
Are we doing Monday?
Yeah, we'll do the Monday game.
Okay, we'll do Monday.
Do Monday, go into the Lions, and then maybe we can try giving them a call before we end the show. Maybe they just decided not to put us on.
Hey, I mean that's a possibility.
I mean, they're doing a live show at the same time we are, so
Right,
I
yeah.
completely get it. We talked to them before the show, but if they just decided it wasn't within their realm to do during the show, then I don't blame them. It is what it is.
All right, we're going to Monday night then. Chicago, New England. This is a interesting matchup for me because I have questions when it comes to New England now. We will get there, though. Chicago plus 8.5. The over-under is at 40.5. Money line is extremely heavy on my end for New England.
Yeah, so bet percentage is definitely high on New England. 79% on them minus the 7.5 or 8, depending on where you look. 87% is on the money line. 79% is on the over in this game, which I don't for bet percentage, which I don't understand. But then when you switched up money percentage, it changes. 89% of the money is on the under in this game, which is the way I would lean personally. I see this as a very slow plotting running game script. 82% of the money is on New England money line, and it's about even on the spread money. A little bit more on Chicago getting the points. Looking at the value index tool, it favors New England slightly. So they have New England winning this game 27-17. And that's with them giving up the 8.5 points. I don't see how that's wrong. That's got to be wrong. That's right. With them giving up the 8.5 points, they're still winning by a little bit. So, yeah, that's what it has. I lean towards New England in this game. Obviously, money line, but giving up the points still, I lean them. It's to me, this is a game where it fits New England's mold, right?
Right.
This is going to be a game where you're going to be Mac Jones is expected to start his first week back.
I was just looking up, and they're saying he's making a serious push to start.
Yeah, he's expected to start this week, and you're looking at he's coming back from that what was it, high ankle sprain.
Mm-hmm.
Those linger. That's why he's been out for 3 weeks. I think this is going to be a Ramondre Stevenson, Damian Harris, and Damian Harris is back early too. They figured he was going to be out 3 to 4 weeks, and he's back after 1. So and was not on the injury report. Practiced in full the last couple days of the week. So I think this is a big Ramondre Stevenson, Damian Harris week. I think it's also a pretty decent David Montgomery, maybe Khalil Herbert week. Khalil Herbert's rushing percentage has dropped since Montgomery came back, but if he keeps breaking off big-ass runs like he does, he's going to push for that percentage to jump up there because he just – every time I see him, he's breaking off a big run, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the kid's athletic as hell. So for me, this is a running game. This is a low-scoring game, and look for them to get Mac Jones, just reincorporated him back to playing football after missing 3 weeks.
So, Mac, I mean, that is the question right now. He's starting, hopefully.
Yeah.
How tight's the leash, though?
Oh, I think if he's starting, his leash is long.
Okay. You don't think Bailey Zappi's a serious threat?
No, because Belichick, if Belichick wanted Zappy to start,
Zappy would
he'd
be starting.
he'd be starting.
Okay.
And of everything we know about Belichick, he listen. He doesn't care about how much team's paying you. He doesn't care about where you're drafted.
Yep.
If you're the guy, if you're producing, if you're the better guy at the position, he's going to play you. Period. And I find it funny that what was the linebacker that they got from Detroit? Jelani Tavai.
Yes.
So I love how New England just takes running backs that the Lions draft in the second round or whatever that don't pan out for them, and they just take them and turn them into great players.
Turn them into what they're supposed to be.
Yeah, it's just funny to me because they did it with Kyle Van Noy, and
Kyle Van Noy, who's
they're doing it with Jelani Tavai. I mean, it's just funny to me how Belichick does shit like that. I find it hilarious.
yeah. Could he come here and do that shit though? Like just get him right from the start.
Oh man, wide receiver wise, I don't really like anybody in this game other than Jacoby Myers. He's a target fucking vacuum cleaner for New England. He sees a monster share of the target percentage, 27%. He's eighth in target per route run at almost 32%. So he's wide receiver 13 in fantasy points per game. Quietly, very quietly. So I like him in this game. I like him season long. He's really the only guy that I like on either side of the ball, wide receiver wise in this game, which projects to be a lower scoring running back game script. And the tight ends, you can cast them both aside. Hunter Henry if you're desperate, but I mean he had a touchdown last week. He almost had a second one, but I don't know. I don't really like either one of those guys in this game. I mean, Hunter Henry's always a guy that could get you a red zone touchdown. You know what I mean? But he could have one catch for 2 yards, or he could have 2 catches for 4 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, the 2 touchdowns are going to help you out, but I mean,
Right.
it's rolling the dice whether that's going to happen or not.
He's what we call touchdown dependent.
Very, very.
Any other thoughts, opinions on that?
Nope. I think we can go ahead and move on to the Lions game.
All right, we're going to finish up here with the Lions and hopefully hear from our guys at Straight No Chaser.
If we haven't, I don't know. I'm debating on whether to even call them. I know they're doing a live show right now, so I don't know if we should even give them a call. I don't know. They said they were going to call us, so I'm not really sure. We'll get into the Lions here and we'll figure it out.
All right, so we've got Detroit versus Dallas. Lions getting 7. Over under set at 49 even. Money line looking pretty heavy on Dallas.
Yeah, so let's see. Bet percentage is pretty even as far as the spread goes. Very heavy money line, Dallas. And then 58% on the over, 49.5 in this game. When you look at the money percentage actually has Detroit at 86% of the money on Detroit getting the points. 54% is on Dallas. Money line, and 67% is on the under in this game. And just to let you know, the under is at minus 112. So even Vegas has the under as being the play in this game. If you look at the value index tool, it has Detroit being the team to take in this one, getting the points. It has Dallas winning this game by 1 point. So take it for what you will. I don't see that, but again, I'm giving you the expert advice. I have to give you the expert advice because I'm not an expert. This has Detroit being the team to take. With that being said, I'm very high on Dallas in this game. I'm high on them, of course, money line, but I'm high on them giving up the 6.5 points. I just don't. It's Dak's first game back. Detroit's defense is atrocious. I think this is a game where you can play Zeke Elliott and be happy about it. You can play Dak and be happy about it. Even in his first game back, you can play CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Tony Pollard.
Michael Gallup's one of the guys I picked up.
So I don't get me wrong. I think that Detroit could do something offensively. They have enough weapons they can do something offensively, but Dallas's defense is damn good. So this isn't going to be a Seattle-Detroit game where Seattle ends up winning in a very high-scoring back-and-forth, shoot-'em-out contest. To me, this is Dallas is gonna dominate this game. And as much as I don't like Dallas, as much as I don't think Dallas has done the right moves and made the right moves and is great, their defense is good enough, and that offense, I think, will eat against the Lions.
I can picture Micah Parsons right now on that end just fucking ripping apart Jared Goff.
Look at his chops.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I'm not going to lie, like, as much as I do love my Lions, I love watching this kid just fucking eat them up. Like, if there's one dude I love watching right now, it is Micah Parsons.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I think all three of us during the draft were very high on Micah Parsons, and we're saying Detroit should have drafted him.
Yep.
And you're seeing all the reasons why we all three said that. I mean, the kid's generational talent.
And it's no offense to Penny. I've got the man's jersey on right now. He's a fantastic lineman, but otherworldly.
Yep. And you look at the Lions' offense. They could have done fine without Penei Sewell, but that defense definitely could have used Micah Parsons. You're seeing it. You're seeing it this year.
You look at the last 2 years and you go, okay, if you take, it's a game of ifs, but you take somebody like Sauce and you take somebody like Parsons, how different does that defense look?
Right.
Oh.
All right, we've got. It looks like we've got straight no chaser calling in here. Hey boys, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, bro?
Hey, we got.
Hey, can y'all? I sent you the link to our board. Can y'all jump in on the StreamYard? I sent it to your inbox on Twitter.
You know what? I don't have access to that right now. We're still live on the show.
Okay.
Did you want to be able to do it via the phone call here?
I'm trying to figure out how we can integrate it. We're doing it video.
Oh, okay.
What time you guys still gonna be on, like a few more minutes? Are y'all about to get off or what?
Yeah, so we're gonna be on for probably about another 15 minutes here, and then we're gonna be getting off here. I might be able to jump on after that. I'm not really sure.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Cool.
All right.
All right.
All right. Thanks, bud.
All right.
Bye. Well.
Oh, that might not work out.
Well, unfortunately, that's not gonna work out for us to do it on our show. But that's all right. Maybe I can try and figure it out after the show. All right. So
I was going to say, on your 7 screens over there, I'm sure one of them has a camera.
Yeah, I mean, I have a camera right there, but I don't have access to the Twitter, and I also have to go to work after this. So.
Oh, that's a good point.
So, but yeah, maybe we can figure that out. But anyway. So listen, we've got Jared Goff. Listen, he's quarterback 6 on the year in fantasy points per game. But shootout game scripts, easy matchups. He's 5th in touchdown passes. All those things, and 5th in touchdown passes is good for him. But like all those things kind of puff up the perception of his skills, right? And I think the real truth is he's. What is he? 25th in PFF passing grade, 32nd in adjusted completion rate. You know what I mean? So like again, some of those things are puffed up a little bit. And
look at his numbers without having Swift in there, and there's a lot of factors to take into account right now.
yeah, so I mean, I don't necessarily love him in this matchup. I think fantasy wise, you could do worse than him almost every week because of the fact he's going to be playing from behind, right? I mean,
Right.
negative game script helps the offense as far as passing goes, right?
It's the Matt Stafford thing.
Pat
Stafford.
Pat Stafford. Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's going to be padding his stats fantasy wise by playing from behind all the time. Dak, I actually like Dak in this game. I have him rated as my 8th best quarterback on the week this week. Even in his first game back. Listen, it's the Lions defense. I mean, if it was his first game back against another defense, I don't know if I'd have him ranked that high, but it's the Lions. Their defense is so bad.
And again, it's a situation of I would love to sit here and love to be like, Joe's a fucking hater. And blah. Statistically, I think they are the worst defense in the league.
They're so bad.
With the eye test, they are definitely the worst defense in the league.
They're so bad. I just can't say that enough. They are so bad.
And we are legitimately at a point where Justin Fields is coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And I am terrified of the way they're about to make that man look.
And I'm looking forward to it because he hasn't looked good all year. But what do you want to bet?
No. Hey, you want to do the shoes?
Shoot the boot?
Shoot the boot.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that.
I still got that same boot sitting right in the same spot, dude.
We'll discuss that. I don't know if I'm that confident in Justin Fields' abilities, even against the Lions, but we'll talk about that.
I will tell you afterwards, but I was told by somebody about that bet that it was quite possibly the rudest thing I could have done.
But I was not worried about it one bit.
Oh, I know. I explained that.
Like, not one bit.
But yeah, they were familiar with the boots I was referring to, and
Yeah.
they were just like, no. I was like, well, the alcohol would sanitize them, so.
Yeah. Running back wise, so listen, Jamal Williams has filled in very admirably for DeAndre Swift. You could do worse than starting him as maybe an RB. I don't want to say RB, maybe RB3, depending on what league you're in, a flex, right?
Right.
I don't know that I really love playing him this week, but you could do worse. Looking at the other side of the ball, running backs, though, Zeke and Tony Pollard, I love them this week because I love everybody on that side of the ball this week against the Lions defense. But Zeke, everyone had him chalked up to be losing his job, and he's got a 60% rushing attempts rate. So I mean, he's 60%. Tony Pollard's 34%, right? So
I had him as losing the starting job. I think I said that at the very beginning of the season, just based on the way they were using Pollard at the end of last year.
Right.
I was expecting it to go Pollard fully.
And a lot of that is Zeke had that knee injury last year that we talked about, and I think that played a bigger role last year than what even him or his team let on. Now, he hasn't looked old Zeke, but he's looked decent. He's looked pretty good. He's trudging along, basically, is the way you want to put it, I guess.
Right.
He's running back 35 in fantasy points per game for the year, but he had a decent outing last week. I think he had 80 yards and a touchdown. This is the week where I think you look at you're going to get decent points out of him. He's only got a 4.3% target share, but you're not really looking for at this point in where you drafted him and what you're expecting from him. You're not expecting a bunch of targets, right?
Right.
Tony Pollard's got 10.1 to his 4.3, but you're looking at Zeke in the red zone. You're looking at Zeke getting 60% of the rushing attempts, and against the Lions defense, that is an absolute fucking sieve. You're expecting a really nice game out of him.
A sieve is putting it nicely.
I already touched on the wide receivers for Dallas.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about Amon-Ra St. Brown on Detroit. Chark has already been ruled out, and there's rumors
IR.
he might. Yeah, I was going to say that
He's been put on
He's
IR.
been put on. Okay, I was going to say there's rumors about him being put on IR.
Yeah.
Which the way the Lions run their franchise is so stupid to me. How are you just now putting him on IR? Like, you had him out since what, week 2?
Mm-hmm.
And you're just now putting him on IR. He was questionable all week. Now all of a sudden he's hurt enough to go on IR? I don't fucking get this franchise and the way they run their team. I just don't. I know I've said that. I'm fucking beating a dead horse at this, but I don't understand this franchise and how they do things. It's fucking stupid to me. But Josh Reynolds has looked decent in a game where they're going to have to throw a lot. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown, Reynolds is a good play.
Yeah, he's the comfort receiver.
Yeah,
He's the guy that Goff's got the most chemistry with. He just enjoys using him.
he came from the Rams.
Who was it? Chris Durham. That's who it was with Stafford.
Oh yeah.
You just get those guys where a quarterback you get in a groove with them. You know where they're at. You can dump it off to them at any point. Every quarterback's got one of those. Brady had Wes Welker, then they had Julian, and you go through the whole list of guys.
Oh yeah.
That's who he is.
Oh yeah. Well, and so looking at this is going to be a negative game script. Hawkinson is a guy. Listen, you draft him, you're playing him, right? I'm going to say I have him ranked. I wouldn't like it.
I know.
But I didn't draft him in any league either. But I have him ranked this week as my 5th best tight end. He's been tight end 4, I think, on the year based on fantasy points per game. And this is a matchup again where they're going to have to throw. We'll see, but you got to play him. Maybe he comes up with a decent game for you. On the other side of the ball, Schultz. I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot ball. I drafted him in a couple leagues, and I actually dropped him in every league. His injuries played a part. Now maybe he gets it going coming back this week with Dak. He's been playing with Cooper Rush instead, and he's been kind of hindered by the injury. But over his last 2 games, he's only seen 4 targets. I don't like that. I don't like that.
If things go south for Dak somehow, some way, how long until the people start crying that they want to see Cooper in there?
Oh, the morons?
That's
Soon.
why I'm saying somehow, some way.
Yeah, the morons.
Not saying it will.
The morons soon, but I mean, listen, we all know Dak is a better quarterback than Cooper Rush.
But Cooper Rush is 5-0.
Oh, well, no, he's not because they lost.
Was it last week? They
Philly
lost.
last week.
Sorry, 4-1.
No, you got but yeah, no, I mean, you win loss like Chris says, win loss for quarterbacks is stupid. Mm-hmm. And you can't really look at that. You got to look at wins and losses is one thing if you're looking at how the wins and losses come and if the quarterback played a big enough role in those wins and losses. Right. Dak's the guy, and I'm not saying Dak has looked great over the last year and a half, but I mean, after he got injured this year, last year he wasn't necessarily that great. But he's better than Cooper Rush,
right?
And they're paying him all that money. They're not gonna do that. Jer Jones is not gonna let that happen. As if Belichick was running the team. Belichick doesn't care how much you're getting paid. If you're not doing the job, you're not doing the job. Dallas is going to be different. They're paying him a lot of money. They're going to run. They're going to put him out there. He's going to be the guy. And like I said, back to Schultz. I mean, over the last couple games with 4 targets, him and I are tied in receiving yards. Him and I are tied in receiving yards. 0.
Which means I'm tied with him.
Which you're tied with him.
If I'm tied with the tight end for receiving yards, we've got a big fucking problem.
Big fucking problem. Big fucking problem. So, yep.
You at least have some athletic ability in your old age now. Listen, it may have been like 6-7 years ago, but I watched you run a race.
You also watch me.
I watched you blow out your knee and then need surgery the next day. But I watched you run.
I just had a flashback. I just had a flashback of PTSD.
I was there for that.
Yeah.
And even with a bad knee, it was still a hell of a lot faster than I would have went.
That's still not saying much. It's not saying much at all. Oh, yeah.
You got anything else?
Nope. I think that's going to end it for our show today.
Okay.
Everybody use our advice with a grain of salt. Fantasy advice probably better than our betting advice, but
and if you have a gambling problem, just get better at it.
If you have a gambling problem, call I don't have the 1-800 number in front of me, but call the 800 number, get help.
No. If you got a gambling problem, just get good at gambling. then you start winning, and then it's not a problem.
My advice is
This is terrible advice.
This is awful advice.
Just sarcasm.
This
people.
is awful advice. I'm gonna not side with Frank on this one and say if you're gambling money you don't have, get help. Andrew says I feel like Frank is speaking to me. Okay. All right. On that note, everybody go enjoy your football Sunday. Hopefully you'll win some money. Hopefully you'll win some of your fantasy matchups. Hopefully you win some DFS games. And if not, just enjoy your day of football. I want to thank everybody for joining in with us today. Dennis chimed in here. He was listening. Andrew, of course, always. Lady friend, Chris, who are driving the car on the way back today. And everybody else who was listening to us throughout the show. We appreciate you. On behalf of Chris and Frank, I'm Joe. We are Sports on Tap. We'll see you on Tuesday.
See ya.
Down the field.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks. Don't mind me. I'ma just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.